So, what's this stuff called again?
Thermite.
And that will cut through a lock. Because this is supposed to be one big-ass lock.
In World War II, the Germans had an artillery piece. It's the biggest in the world, called the Gustav gun. It weighed 1,000 tons. The Gustav was capable of firing a 7-ton shell and hitting a target accurately 23 miles away. I mean, you could drop bombs on it every day for a month without ever disabling it. But drop a commando, one man, with just a bag of this, and he could melt right through 4 inches of solid steel and destroy that gun forever.
Hey, welcome to the Rochester Museum and Science Center. Thanks for joining us. Today, it's thermite. And thermite's been around since the 1800s. It's a single exchange reaction. You take 2 different things and you put them together and it makes a new thing. The 2 things we're going to take today, one of them is aluminum powder, or aluminium if you're from the other side of the pond, and the other is just iron rust. So what we're going to do is we've got a little bit of a igniter on the top, and I'm going to take some sulfuric acid and drip it on top of it. When it does, it's going to cause a chemical reaction that's going to superheat this from whatever it is outside right now, somewhere in the 50s, to about 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit in about 2 or 3 seconds.
I've mentioned the oddness around red and blue bricks before. The rise of the red brick building in the 18 and 1900s, used in asylums, hospitals, linked to our quarries, and also the people of the past, a history questioned. Looking further into the red and blue brick, I came across videos of Mali, which shows the blue roof buildings aren't burning as much as the red roof buildings. How true is this? Well, I'm not on the ground, but the videos seem to show, at least in some places, the blue not setting fire. Science videos back this up by showing a laser won't cut through blue, which will be spoken about shortly. Why doesn't the laser cut through or burn blue? This was highlighted in regard to the roofs in Mali and the wildfires.
Now to a very unusual sight captured on camera. Japanese and local astronomers say a Chinese satellite was recently seen beaming down green lasers over the islands. This video captured atop the Subaru telescope on Mauna Kea, operated by the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan. Bryce Moore has the story.
The lasers flash for just a couple seconds.
Red light, green light.
Laser weapons can be programmed for different wavelengths. There was something blue they didn't want to burn.
Blue car did not burn in flames. Same as the blue umbrella.
made me think of previous questions I've asked regarding the brick and roof itself. The way I see it, the terracotta of the bricks and roofs, the red, is a conductor of electricity, with tests proving that bricks can store electricity or energy. They can combust with the right ingredients and circumstances, whereas the blue, often associated with lattice, doesn't conduct electricity well. It is more an insulator than a conductor, with the blue being a colour seemingly hard to identify, with mystery around the colour blue, as it was scarcely mentioned in the books of the past, scriptures of the past. The colour blue does not come up. And then we have the people not being able to see the colour blue, particular peoples around the world. It also reminds me of the blood inside the human body. There is no such thing as blue blood to say, although what it means is blue blood has less oxygen where the red blood has much, and oxygen is one of the three elements needed for fire. Oxygen, heat and fuel. The oxygen and fuel already being present within our homes, it just requires heat, which we are now getting. This also relates to royalty in the accepted class. Blue highlights importance and royalty. Red, however, generally highlights danger and destruction. Isn't it funny that the blue brick and roof buildings are lasting longer than the red brick or red roof one?
These blue tin roofs are in China and South Korea. Did we not get the memo?
Laser beams cannot penetrate the color blue. Oprah Winfrey's house had a blue roof. FEMA camps have blue roofs.
Just like the leading classes of the world hope to outlive us, stand upright while we burn. And even further to this, in terms of micro and macro, the brain is considered left and right, or red and blue, with the blue often associated with the creative side and the red the logic side. Again, funny how nothing seems to make sense in this world anymore. And in relation to this, the first artificial brain was also called the blue brain. With the addition of aluminium to iron oxide, which is basically your TV aerial, along with other components of the roof or house, it can become thermite, which can burn through most things and cause extreme heat. Essentially, it is a bomb. Relating this to houses, our houses are exactly the same. Red brick, clay structure rich in iron oxide, covered like a kiln or the lid of a bomb, with an aerial on the top, creating the two components needed for a thermite reaction, aluminium and iron oxide.
The aluminium is reflective, and that is what you get in the sky, is a reflective shield, and that's why you burn off the sun so easily, because it's being reflected back. So the aluminium is reflective as well as it's a conductor. So the particles that are being sprayed are within, I don't know, a gas or an air or whatever they spray it out, but they're actual particles of aluminium. I know this for a fact because my sister got 2 in her eye when she stepped off the plane from Belfast. So obviously they hadn't turned their bloody jets off before. And you get strontium, barium, all sorts up in with the chemtrails, but they're the two big ones, strontium and barium. So they're not good either. But the aluminium is definitely, it's glitter basically. If you look at glitter, it's shiny and it's reflective. It doesn't matter what colour they paint it, what colour they make it, and it gets absolutely fucking everywhere. You can have it in the house and you can't get rid of it. You still have it there. A year later you'll find a little pocket of it, or it'll be in the carpet somewhere, or do you know what I mean? It's just horrendous, that stuff. So yeah, but your aerial, you have got a bloody powder keg there, because the coaxial is your fuse. With all that plastic round, this is my partner telling me about the wiring thing. He says there's 2 wires, but it's called a coaxial, and it's covered in loads of plastic, which makes it into a fuse. It makes it into an incendiary device waiting to go off. All it needs to do is get a bit hotter, you know? So all they got to do is shine a light at it, haven't they? And there you go, it's going to heat up in that little bit in the TV aerial. the particles are in the chemtrail. They're actually in with the barium, strontium and whatever else that you find in there. And there's been aluminium in the chemtrails, and the particles that are coming down on cars now, it's gritty like sand, and they can get a magnet underneath it and move it along. So it's magnetic, you know. So there is aluminium in the particles that are coming down to coat whatever. It's a bit like in the war when they used to send the old ferrous flares out, red flares out, to sort of like highlight something and then drop bombs onto the area. Because there was enough ferrous in the atmosphere, the bombs would just blow up. So you'd get a firebomb and that would cause a fire. So they've refined it a bit from the war, if you like, in doing it with this laser technology that they've got. Because although the aerial is a fuse, the added aluminium in the air will only create the incendiary even more. So setting off the fuse in the aerial. Plus you have to remember that the biggest purchaser of glitter is US military.
But when we think of the targeting of the weapons they have, HAARP, DEW, the chemtrails and the substances they are dropping from the sky, this could easily be catalysts to make the reaction occur. For what are they dropping from the sky? Yes, it affects our plants, our health, us and our animals. But is it playing part in the fire and the destruction of the realm and grid itself? In terms of the laser video, why doesn't the laser set the blue fabric on fire? The blue colour reflects the blue laser, which means it is not absorbed and cannot increase in temperature. Essentially, the blue becomes a reflector, could easily be seen as like a superhero that is indestructible or even invisible, as it cannot be damaged. As we see in the superheroes, a lot of them wearing the colour blue, which adds to this royalty, indestructibility. However, we deem to have not been considered blue. As shown by the exclusive Truce video on the Mali fires, the island looks like a head and a chest, with the fires taking place in the heart and head. This is an attack on the hearts and minds of the world. We are in a strange time, and everything seems to be symbolic. They are out to destroy everything natural, not just the trees, not just us, it's all.
This morning, some relief for the people of Maui from two of Hollywood's biggest stars.
We've been meeting with the community leaders, our kupuna, for the past couple of weeks, and just trying to figure out what we could do.
Oprah and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, coming together to aid communities impacted by the wildfires, launching a fund with an initial donation of $10 million, but also asking for more help.
Yes, you do. How many children are missing? You know.
I knew the answer to that. I would be happy to answer that.
You have no estimate as to how many children are missing?
I think you could lighten it up a little bit at the end. I don't think it would discredit anything. I think if you kind of just state exactly what you did, that you're not a scientist, but you look at things objectively and you can see some things that are questionable, and it's important for us to know these things. But again, going to extreme measures is a little silly, as I think these things are more targeted, and it's not just like they're taking anybody and everybody out. So I think if you add on there that it's just more important to be aware of these kind of things and to really look and question what might be going on behind the scenes when these kind of things happen. But yeah, these things are just weird in that aspect that, you know, you're trying to point things out that are alarming, yet you don't want to freak people out to the point that they get extremely overprotective, I guess, or go to the extreme of trying to ward off these things that might be happening.